The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You're listening to the Sports Scramble podcast, where four friends serve up a weekly plate of sports with a side of SEC bias. Now, here are your hosts, Chet, Jacob, Wade, and Tyler.
Let's go!
Welcome in to this week's episode of the Sports Scramble podcast, brought to you by Belly Up Sports, live from all over the country in Germany.
The Gulf South.
We have listeners in Germany now. I don't know if they understand what we're saying, but anybody know any German? Say hello to them.
I mean, English is probably like 60-40 in terms of percent of the population speaking.
maybe they were watching because the Titans and whoever they played Germany this week.
Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, so we had two in London and two in Germany, or one in Germany. Is that how it went, Tyler? Is that
we have two in Germany, I believe.
They're coming up in November.
Yeah, Frankfurt.
Oh, maybe. Well, I think the Titans' offense was just there for Oktoberfest, because they did not show up. But yeah, this weekend, anybody delve into the Oktoberfest activities in your hometown, Wade? I know you like a good brew. Did you check out?
Yeah, if you count Miller Lite at an LSU tailgate.
I mean, I would count it. That's brew, and it's October, and it's drinking. It's the same thing. And LSU poured down the Auburn's hopes of winnings. I don't know, some beer lingo there for you, but we'll get into all that. But welcome in to this week's live stream of the show. If you're here, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment for your favorite game from the weekend and your most upsetting one. If your team didn't win, let us know. We'll make sure to give you our analysis on how they can turn their season around. Unless you're Texas A&M, that answer is just fire Jimbo Fisher and keep on rolling. So we usually start with NFL talk, but I just mentioned Jimbo Fisher. Tyler, is it time for Jimbo to be done in College Station?
Yeah, we hinted at this a little bit on yesterday's show. It's about time. I mean, it's been too many years. Like the one good year that Jimbo and Texas A&M had was in 2020. That was about really their best chance to make it to the college football playoff. If you remember, though, Notre Dame got the bid over them. But outside of that, it's been 8-4, 8-4, all these five-star recruits, but can't really coach them. All the Texas A&M fans were trying to say that, Jimbo Fisher, the offense, the struggles were on. And what does Jimbo try to do? He hires Bobby Petrino. We talked about in the early weeks of the season. Great hire, like how great of a hire it was. And, their offense was rolling. They scored over 40 points against Miami. And then outside of that game, they've really struggled. Max Johnson threw 2 interceptions that really – so we're paying that much money for a guy, and he's just not really providing what Texas A&M should be, especially with Texas and Oklahoma joining the conference. Yeah, I think it's about time that Jimbo is gone.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to start losing that recruiting battle pretty early come next season with Texas and Oklahoma coming in. I mean, I think A&M knew what they were doing, right? You had – who was their quarterback that just got hurt?
Connor Wagman.
Yeah, him. They probably told him, like, look, dude, you could come back, fractured your foot, stay out for a little bit because Max Johnson is a coach killer. He killed Coach O's career. We're going to put that blame on Max Johnson, not Coach O chasing co-eds in practice. But now they're like, look, let Max tank Jimbo's career here. Throwing backwards passes, 2 interceptions when they could have won the game. And eventually they're just going to write the check. Wait, do you know how much it is at this point? I think it was like $72 million last year.
It keeps getting lower every year. It's kind of like paying off a car. And at this point, you're already eyeing the next model. And you're just like, hey, do I just make the last year's worth of payments before I hit the dealership and upgrade? I think that's kind of where they're at because, like you said, next year is critical. You got Texas and Oklahoma joining. That's your recruiting hotbed. And honestly, both of those programs are in better shape than A&M right now. So Jimbo better get on one heck of a run to finish out the year.
I mean, Texas and Oklahoma are fighting for the top spot in the Big Ten in their last year there. So it's it's dicey. If I'm A&M, I'm just cutting that check, say, where do I sign? Give them the Coach O treatment, send them on down to Destin, Florida, have them hang out and, coach like high school kids or something. Looking around the league, SEC wise, in this past week, we had LSU get right against Auburn, absolute dominant performance. They beat them by 30. It's Auburn's offense, so I don't want to be too high on our defense, right? But they've looked much better than they did a couple weeks ago when you played a team like Ole Miss. Georgia held on against Vanderbilt. I turned on the TV. I was like 30-20. What the hell's going on? And then it ends up being
I was like, hey, it's
20.
30-7. I feel good. And then I saw it's 30-14. I was like, even better. And then 30-20.
I know. I was like, oh, Vanderbilt's got some life. Brock Bowers is hurt. I mean, that's their entire offense. Tyler, you said it. I don't know what they're going to do on offense for performance now.
Yeah, they're going to have to find somebody. They got Dejon Edwards. He's their leading rusher. But if you really look at Georgia's schedule, you got the bye week. And then after that, you have Florida. And then, you got to go on the road to Tennessee. And you still have to face against Missouri. So you got to find your offense. Somebody's going to have to step up, one of your wide receivers. I think that Ra Thomas is probably the guy that you need to be stepping up. Yeah, I think definitely not going to be easy. We don't know the exact timetable. He got surgery today. It was a high ankle sprain, so we'll see how long he's out. If it's a 4 or 6 week injury, that's definitely going to hurt. They're moving down the line, especially with tough games left to play.
Yeah, you said they play Florida in a couple of weeks. The Gators pulled off a narrow victory down there in South Carolina, 41-39, win by 2. That was a comeback bid, wasn't it? Wasn't South Carolina win the majority of the game?
Yes.
I'm trying to look at the
yeah, they were up
play-by-play.
going into the fourth quarter, and then Ricky Pearsall capped off a Florida drive with just a couple minutes left in the game. He had 166 yards, so
dang,
tore him up. South Carolina secondary just doesn't look very good.
Graham Mertz with 423 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. He comes down to Baton Rouge to play the Tigers in a couple weeks. Actually, the week after Bama. So, I mean, I'm just looking optimistic here, right? LSU's got 2 losses. The chances are very slim. But if you win out and some things fall into place, some teams lose, you win an SEC championship game, very dominated.
Lots to happen, Chet.
It happened in 2007. That's the only reason I'm saying it. But a lot to happen. But you can't overlook a Florida team after you play Alabama because you tend to leave Tuscaloosa nursing some injuries. That's a physical game, so that's a game to circle if you're a Florida fan. It's a potential upset right there. Tennessee squeaking out a win against A&M. They're going to take on Alabama next week, so that's going to be an interesting game. I mean, last week it was like last year game of the year. Now the quarterback talent has dropped off immensely in that game. So we'll see how that plays out. And then rounding off the SEC for this week, my upset pick that was correct. Missouri knocking off the Wildcats 38-21. They started it off with a fake punt. They were down 14-0. Missouri pulls a fake punt to score 7 points, and then the floodgates opened. They were unstoppable from there. So that's kind of a preview from the SEC. Looking around just college football in general, Washington, Oregon, game of the year, came down to the final seconds. Oregon missed that field goal and there was a lot of questionable coaching calls, right? It's 4th down at your 50. Do you go for it or do you punt, Wade? What would you have done in that situation?
I understand what Dan Lanning was trying to do and just putting the game on the line in his offensive hands and just ice him, really. But I think you got to play it traditional there and punt. I know that Washington had been moving the ball well, and you got Michael Penix, but Oregon's shown that they can have a good defense as well, and I would give them a chance to, get a stop. But at that point, all Washington really needed was a 1st down to get into field goal range. I can't remember how much they were down by, but they ended up getting the touchdown. Didn't matter.
They were down 4.
Yeah, so I guess the field goal wasn't in play. But then even after all that, like you said, they did have one more chance. Not even that long of a field goal. we see it every year. A contender misses a field goal that could send a game to overtime or to win it. It's always heartbreaking because these aren't NFL kickers. These are probably some of the last guys on the team to get scholarships. Some of them even aren't on scholarships. So I hate seeing it come down to a kicker. I almost never root against a college kicker because that's just hard to do.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking there. I mean, there were some people on Twitter that saying the kicker position should be eliminated completely.
No,
Tyler,
it's
what do you
part of
think
the
about that?
game.
That's an argument with Tyler. What do you think? Because they were saying one guy cost the entire 52-man team or 22 starters and coach. This was more for an NFL argument, but I guess it applies.
It's no different than throwing an interception as a quarterback or fumbling the ball. Or
It's just part of the game.
Yeah, but I guess the quarterback, if he throws one pick, it could end up being the game-changing play, but this is like do or die. You score these points, it's done. I don't think that it should be eliminated, but I just thought that was pretty interesting.
But the one common trend across all 32 NFL teams this year, their kicker, assuming he does play all 17 games and they don't switch kickers, will be the leading scorer on that football team. So just the little points, they just add up, PATs, you take that for granted, chip shot field goals every now and then. It's just that so often we see it come down to the wire and then, we blame the kicker, but they do a lot to keep the team in the ball game throughout the season. And I don't know. I'm a football purist. I like to see all the positions.
I think if we had Jacob on the show, he'd have said, kick the kicker off the field, eliminate him. So,
some of these fantasy gurus have gotten rid of kickers in fantasy football, and
I think you got to keep them in fantasy.
Yeah, it's just part of the luck, like
make or break a game.
Just you get 15 out of your kicker and might bail out a running back getting hurt or something.
Exactly, it bailed out Deebo Samuel not showing up or getting hurt in like the first two plays. For me, but I'm still going to end up losing that matchup. We don't want to talk about that.
He also got in a fist fight right before kickoff.
Yeah, so way to go, Deebo. Maybe not throw with your shoulder next time. Hit him, kick him or something. I mean, come on, dude. Yeah,
as long as you're not the
kicker.
kicker.
About kickers. Exactly. Kickers can't kick people. But, Tyler, if hypothetical here, Washington's undefeated, Oregon's got one loss. The Pac-12 doesn't do divisions anymore in their championship game, right?
It's the top two.
So I still think those are the top two, especially after watching USC get absolutely erased by Notre Dame. You still have Utah, but, I mean, everybody's kind of forgotten about Utah at this point. Oregon, Washington play.
They have a loss as well.
Yeah, so say Oregon beats Washington. Do you put a one-loss Washington team in the championship in the playoffs? Or a Pac-12 champion, Oregon?
Yeah, I think the winner of the Pac-12, really, if you look at their strength of schedule, is the best out of anybody. And the Big Ten, if you look at the top three teams, they haven't really played anybody. In the SEC, it's probably going to come down, if they even get in, because the SEC right now is in jeopardy, especially, with the way that Georgia's been looking. So I think, I wouldn't also count out Oregon State. I know that Oregon State has one loss, so they're looking pretty good. Washington State was the talk of the town, and Arizona beat them to a pulp this weekend, 44-6. So I think right now I would probably eliminate USC, especially the way that they looked against Notre Dame. They definitely have some tough tasks. I said in the beginning, Washington was my team. I had them winning it all. I still believe that, especially the way that Michael Penix is playing. I think that their defense is good enough. I mean, they have some really talented wide receivers. Oregon's defense really had no answer. So I think you see this matchup once again, but I'm going to take UW to still take the Pac-12.
I think if Oregon gets another shot at them, I'd still pick Washington just because I actually, like you said, I had Michael Penix to take the Heisman this year. That's my pick. Even though I'm texting Wade throughout the day trying to figure out how to put some money on Jaden Daniels. But I have money out there on Michael Penix. It's big Penix time.
You picked the wrong Pac-12 quarterback at the start of the season.
Yes.
You backed Shedeur early on.
I bought it to the hype. That one
the Penix odds were longer.
Yes. I see what you did there. But what a time for the Pac-12 to figure out that they want to actually play football and be in the playoff hunt for their last year. So my question to you, Wade, is the Pac-12 the best conference right now?
I mean, these things have a way of working out like this. Ironically, the conference is about to go away, and here they are having just a resurgence as a group. You got 3 top 15 teams. You got Utah kind of on the fringe there. So yeah, I think that right now this conference does have the best overall resume. I think you could make an argument for the Big Ten, but we haven't seen them play each other yet. We'll see that this week with Penn State and Ohio State facing off. But now that we've seen Washington and Oregon face off, they both look like the real deal, look like top 10 teams. So right now, yeah, I'll give the nod to the Pac-12.
I mean, we are an SEC biased show, as it says in our intro. But Tyler, do you agree with Wade, or are you going Big Ten, somebody else?
No, I think the Pac-12 right now is the best conference. In the SEC, it's like a 2-horse or maybe a 3-horse race. So LSU's still the mix. We'll see how long that lasts. The Big Ten, they'll probably beat each other up too. Penn State and Ohio State, like Wade mentioned, is going to play, and then Michigan will play both of those teams. And maybe, surprisingly, I think that Iowa has a realistic shot of going 11-1. If you really look at the rest of their schedule, it's definitely a chance. I know it would be bizarre, but they have one of the easiest remaining schedules. And then the ACC, it feels like also it's a 2-team race. We'll see if Duke can pull off a shocker and against Florida State, but it feels like Florida State and North Carolina is just on a collision course. But I think from top to bottom, you got to give it 12. I know that USC got exposed this weekend against Notre Dame, but outside of that, Oregon State's been looking good. Oregon and Washington aren't really going to go anywhere, and Utah has a really good chance. They head on the road to face off against USC. So if Utah wins, and keep in mind, Utah hasn't had their starting quarterback the whole entire season. They've been going through
when
a lot
is he
of
coming
quarterbacks.
back?
I don't know when he's coming back. And by this rate, he's just going to miss this season, and hopefully he has another year eligibility to come back. But I don't know. The Utah defense is keeping them in it. So I think from top to bottom, you got to say that the Pac-12 is the best conference. And from their last year, they're sure going out with a bang.
Yeah, it's like Wade said, these things have a funny way of working out. And I saw a post on Twitter, and we don't have to give it too much, debate, because it was honestly comical. This guy said that 2023 Washington is 2019 LSU. You got a Heisman winner of a quarterback.
Was it Aaron Murray? Because I saw the same thing.
Yes, it was Aaron Murray. I think he's just an LSU hater because he went to Georgia.
I don't know. Tyler and I met him last year. He was very complimentary of the Tigers, but he's just trying to drum up likes and views. And
that's why I'm asking the question right now, because I'm going to make this into a TikTok. So 2019 LSU, 2023 Washington. Who do you take and why?
All right, I'll hit it first. I would take LSU. I mean, obviously,
I get the similarities of it. Go ahead.
Oh, we had some delay here.
I think we both started talking.
Yeah.
I would take 2023. I would take 2019 LSU, maybe 2023 LSU too. But yeah, I just think that Michael Penix, he's having a great season. No disrespect to him, but I do think that Joe Burrow probably had the single greatest season of all time. Plus, you had Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, and Justin Jefferson. I know that Washington has a lot of talent on the perimeter too, but just seeing it with my own eyes, I got to go with that LSU team.
I can't name a Washington receiver, and that might just be because I haven't watched a ton of their games, but I couldn't tell you who their top 2 wide receivers are. I think
you will by April when that draft rolls around. Roma DZA, he's the real deal.
But I guess my point is the reach that 2019 LSU had, right? I mean, they were viral every week. The LSU had the hype videos going. Everybody knew who Justin Jefferson was. It just kind of blew up is my thing. And I think Washington's a great team. But I think influence-wise, on my side, I'm going to agree with you, Wade. I'm going to say 2019 LSU. Let's see if Tyler's got a separate point. I know, Futch, if you were here, you would pick 2023 Washington just to disagree with us.
You would pick 2023 Penn State.
Yes, he would pick 2023 Penn State. Tyler, tell us why Washington would be be your pick.
I mean, I get the similar.
In an alternate.
But I think that he was more on emphasis that you have an all-star quarterback, you have really 2 talented wide receivers, and then you have a good enough defense. I think that was more that what he was trying to say, and not compare that 2023 Washington is better than 2019 LSU, because nobody in their right mind is going to be better than that 2019 LSU team. If you look at all the talent. And this Washington team, they still have to prove on their schedule. It's not like Oregon was like their Super Bowl. They still have a long way to go. They have a road test USC. They host Utah and then go on the road to Corvallis. So it's not like the schedule it just gets any easier from now. They still have some tough tests. So, if they go on the way and, go beat it, go through that schedule and win the national championship, then sure, yeah, we can have these conversations. But until they hold, a national championship trophy and, their first round picks are what turn out to be, the Jamar Chase, the Justin Jeffersons, the Joe Burrows of the world. Can't really have these comparisons. It's just too early in the game.
Well, we will have this comparison at the end of the season again and see how they fared. But before that, we got to get some upset picks. So here we go. So upset picks. What is this? Week 8? Am I reading? Yes, week 8. Tyler, let's get you started off. It's okay. Wade, we'll let you start it off because Tyler's having difficulties over there.
All right. I think we've kind of been high on this team the last couple of weeks. I think Tyler picked them as his upset pick last week. So I'm going to roll off the momentum of Oklahoma State. I'm going to take them on the road over West Virginia. I know that this is a tough travel to Morgantown to play West Virginia, but these games always seem to be pretty high scoring, and I think Oklahoma State's hit their stride, and I think they can pull off the upset.
Okay, I like it.
They're 3.5-point dogs, by the way.
Okay, so it classifies as an upset. Tyler, what do we got?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the biggest game of the weekend. I wish that Jacob was here because I'm finally going to give his team some praise on this show, and that is number 7 Penn State going on the road to number 3 Ohio State. It's a big noon kickoff. I've been saying it. Penn State was my preseason Big Ten pick to make it to the playoff, so I got to keep it with it. I'm not going to go away from it. So I think that Penn State upsets Ohio State, so the Buckeyes set alert at home.
Okay, well, watch out, Ohio State. You got the Nittany Lions coming to take your title from you. I'm going down to the ACC. This one's down in Tallahassee, in Seminole Stadium, whatever the heck you call that, Doak Campbell Stadium, according to ESPN. Give me Duke over Florida State. That's a little bit of a grudge pick. It's also a Riley Leonard comeback game. He's got the high ankle sprain. Come back, put the team on his back, take down the number 4 ranked team in the country, storm their field. Like I said, that who was it? South Carolina was going to do to Georgia. That didn't happen. It almost happened. But I think Duke's going to storm Florida State's field at Doak Campbell Stadium, more like Duke Campbell Stadium, and give me the Blue Devils to take down the Seminoles in this week's upset pick. So some quick picks looking around the college football landscape. I mean, Army and LSU, I think we all agree LSU's going to take that one. Tyler, you mentioned Penn State, Ohio State. You picked Penn State. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with Ohio State. I do like Penn State a lot, but I think Ohio State ekes it out.
Okay, it's a big noon kickoff over on Fox. I'm an upset guy. Give me Penn State. I like the number 7 versus number 3. Penn State's ready to end Ohio State's winning streak. So UCF, Oklahoma, probably don't even need to pick that. But Mackenzie Milton's going against his old school. So maybe there's some drama there. We all taking Oklahoma, or is anybody on the UCF train?
No American team has won since coming into the conference besides Cincinnati.
Houston got that. It wasn't a conference game.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Oh, it was a conference game, was it? Yeah. Houston pulled off the last-second touchdown tip drill. That was pretty wild.
I think that's the one I was thinking of. I think they're the only one to win a game so far. So I'm going to stick with Oklahoma.
Okay, Washington State and Oregon. Who do we got here, Tyler?
Give me the Ducks to bounce back at home. Washington State is looking very, very bad after a hot start.
Yeah, Ducks are a 20-point favorite. So, Wade, you going with them?
Yeah, I'll go with Oregon, but I do think that line's a little high, given the talent that we know Washington State can play with on offense.
All right, we got Tennessee going down to Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Alabama is a 9.5 point favorite, which is kind of surprising, but these are two very mediocre offenses after having two electric offenses last year. Battle of defenses. Wade, who do you got?
I'm going to go with Alabama. I'm not too sure about that line. This is one where I would just pick it outright. I think that both offenses are pretty lethargic, but I kind of feel like it's going to be one of those games where one team comes to play and the other doesn't, and it's not going to be a bunch of fireworks one way or another. But I could see Alabama winning this one, like, I don't know, maybe 21-10 or something, but I could also see it being like 21-17.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a poor offensive performance from both of them. And I think Alabama, just because it's at home, they're going to eke out the win. So, Tyler, what do you got? Alabama
Yeah.
or the Volunteers?
Yeah, I'll give it to Alabama, but I would probably Tennessee to cover that line. It's a rivalry game, but I'm going to go with the Tide. They've been circling this one since last year, looking for some revenge. So, in a defensive battle, give me the Tide to survive.
Okay. I picked Duke to beat Florida State. Y'all agree with me, or you think I'm crazy?
I'm going to go with the Noles.
Yeah, I got to go with Florida State.
All right. I'm taking my receipts. I keep my receipts like Dion. Utah, USC. What do we got going on here?
Give me Utah. I think USC, this is where their road to – because I think that they're the most overhyped team. You know, it was starting the Colorado, but I think that Utah actually has a defense and a pulse. So we'll see if Cam Rising's back. But I think that I'm going to go back on the Utah train. I always pick Utah against USC.
I mean, it won't really matter if Cam Rising plays or not because USC does not have a defense. And Utah does, and we saw what happened with Caleb Williams last week. So I'm going Utah also. Wade, what do you think?
All right, well, I'll take USC. I don't think the world's quite over for them. Maybe we'll see this team bounce back. You know, if they have a lot to play for, and they just got punched in the mouth. So can they respond, or are they going to make excuses like their coach likes to do? I give them the benefit of the doubt with the playmaking ability of Caleb Williams. I think USC wins this one close, probably by about 3.
Okay, I like it. One game we did not talk about, and I wanted to mention, it happened last Friday. Colorado and Stanford, prime time, losing. Was it double overtime or just single overtime?
Double.
Another double overtime for them.
They let up a 29-0 lead at half. Shadur was not flexing in the student section with his Rolex. So, I mean, it was a fun hype train, but you could probably see Colorado finishing the season at 5-7, 6-6. I mean, does anybody think they're really turning around at this point?
No.
I think they could go bowling.
Yeah, I think they could win 6 games.
Yeah,
right?
6-6. Woohoo.
They're going to go to that famous Idaho Potato Bowl, baby.
We had
very embarrassing to blow a 29-point lead to one of the worst teams in the Pac-12.
No, I agree with you there. We had the over/under at the beginning of the season at 3.5. They've got 3. We just need to get them one more. Come on, Dion. Yeah, don't let us down here. We just need one more out of you. So, but with that, we got to get to our new favorite segment brought to you by our friends over at Wolf Spreads, Building Dat Bankroll.
It's time for Building Dat Bankroll.
Cha-ching, Building Dat Bankroll, brought to you, like I said, by our friends over at Wolf Spreads. Download the app free on the App Store, and you can join our league. We didn't do too great this week. Let me pull up the. None of us did good in the NFL. I think we were all in the negatives. But it's fake money, man. We're just.
And it was a weird Sunday.
Our friend Joe, listener, if you're listening, thanks for playing with us, Joe. He's actually leading the league right now with a profit this week. But where we made our money was in college football. We all finished positive. Actually, all of us did finish positive. Look at there. Jacob bounced back from -$2,000 to $570 profit. So congratulations, Jacob, for getting that monkey off your back and you're back in the positive. So best bet of the week. Let's start with you, Wade. What do you got?
All right. College, I'm assuming first?
Yes, let's go college.
All right. I'm going to take Ole Miss. Right now, they're only a 6.5-point favorite. I think you should jump on that while you can. I think it will climb over a touchdown by kickoff. So right now, yeah, take the free money there, Ole Miss, to win by at least a touchdown. I think they double that, but take the 6.5 while you got it.
Yeah, especially against Auburn, which you saw LSU just beat by 30. And Ole Miss's offense is just as electric. So, Tyler, who do you got for your college bet?
I'll kick it to the Big Ten, go with the Iowa Hawkeyes to cover the 3.5 versus Minnesota, a team that cannot score the football. And Iowa actually showed a pulse against Wisconsin on the road at Camp Randall. The Kinnick, I think the way it has been looking, I think that Iowa is starting to find their rhythm. And like I mentioned, I think that this is going to be the team that ultimately takes the Big Ten West, especially that was a huge win over Wisconsin. So give me the Hawkeyes to continue momentum and cover the 3.5 against the Gophers.
Oh, Matty Ice likes your pick there, Wade, with the hottie
Let's
toddy.
ride, Matt Jones.
I like that pick there. Tyler with Iowa over the Golden Gophers. I would also take the under, because I think Iowa has hit every under spread
Because their players bet on every underspread?
That too. I mean, you had Caitlin Clark score more points in Iowa Stadium in one half than they did all last year. If you saw the little exhibition game they played inside the stadium, yeah. So that's pretty embarrassing. My college best bet, brought to you by Wolf Spreads, it's going to be the same as my upset pick. Florida State's a 14-point favorite over Duke. I think this one's close. I don't think Florida State beats them by 2 touchdowns, but if Riley Leonard doesn't play, ignore everything I just said. Give me Duke plus 14.
Hey, they're back.
Florida State.
Fine.
I know, but I think we need Leonard in this game to really pull off the upset. Exactly. He's going to be the difference maker. So that's our college picks. Let's start with you, Tyler, on your NFL pick for this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Washington. Well, the last time we picked the Commanders did not work so well. They lost against the Bears. But the way that the Giants looked, I know that they did Buffalo well, but they're coming back at home. Who knows if Daniel Jones will be back or not, but I think that the Commanders, they're coming off of a great victory on the road against Atlanta. So give me Washington. 2 points is very low, especially in an NFC East battle. I think that Washington's offense is just too complete for the Giants to keep this one close. So I think Washington wins this one pretty easily.
Aren't the Giants favored by 2?
No.
Or is it the other way around? Okay. I was about to say, if that's the case, it's free money plus 2.
It's never going to be favored.
Yeah. Well, you never know. It's Washington. Wade, what do you got on the NFL side for us?
All right. I'm going to go with the Lions. They're 3-point dogs to the Baltimore Ravens. You can pick them outright if you want to. I think that's reasonable. But I could see this being under a 3-point game, maybe a 2 or a 1-point game, even if it goes in the Ravens' favor. So I would take the Lions plus 3 in this one. It's a battle of 2 division leaders between Baltimore and Detroit. But I just really like what I've seen out of Detroit in this one, and I'm comfortable taking them as an outright winner as well. I just think this team is really good on offense. I know David Montgomery's out, but Craig Reynolds and Jahmyr Gibbs should be just fine at running back, and we know they can throw it. So, yeah, I like the Lions this Sunday.
Hey, Lions sneaky pick for an NFC championship run. I mean, they're putting it together over there with Matt Campbell, so keep your eyes on them come playoff season. My pick for the NFL, which this is, I mean, to me feels like free money. You got the Green Bay Packers going to Denver to face the ass Denver Broncos. I'm talking they worst team Sean Payton's ever coached. You couldn't throw water onto a fire and catch some electricity on that offense. That metaphor made no sense. Their offense makes no sense. Their defense makes no sense. You're telling me Green Bay is -1? I bet the house on it. I mean, they for sure win. They for sure cover.
And it ends in a 17-17 tie.
That would be something, wouldn't it? No, I think Green Bay -1 is easy money. I'm sure that line's going to change. It's Monday night, so get it while it's still hot, and just root for Packer points. I mean, Jordan Love had a really bad game last week. Were they on a bye this week?
Yeah, they're on a bye.
So maybe he got it figured out during the bye week. It's probably just some technique he needed to tweak, right, to get back in his mode. And I think he goes on down.
They've also
Denver.
been missing Aaron Jones, which is a big part of their offense.
Definitely,
He should be back as well.
Yeah, so I think Broncos -1. Yeah, Tyler needs him for fantasy. I think Broncos. I'm sorry. What am I saying? Green Bay -1.
Green Bay, let's ride.
Yes, Green Bay, let's ride -1. Take him over the Broncos.
The pack attack, baby.
Roll with the
That's our best. Everything. Just put it on Green Bay, no matter what you got. That's our best bets for the weekend coming up. Brought to you by our friends over at Wolf Spreads. Download their app; it's free in the App Store. Join our league. We put the links up on our Twitter, so you can find it there at Sports Scramble 4. Join it, bet against us, and see who's got the best gamble in mind without risking any actual cash. So, with that, we got to get to who got that dog in. Who got that dog in him? A fan favorite. I see Matty Ice lurking in the chat. I've already got the comment section pulled up. I'm waiting for the Matty Ice who got that dog in him segment. And if he doesn't send it in, I'm going to be very disappointed. So, Matt, this is a personal call out that you got to send in a dog of the week. Let's start with you, Wade. What do you got for who got that dog in him?
All right, I'm going to go with an old dog showing us new tricks. I'm going to go with Adam Thielen of the Carolina Panthers. I was a little skeptical of Carolina giving him $25 million at age 33.
That's a lot.
It has provided a very nice security blanket for young rookie quarterback Bryce Young. Adam Thielen has been wide receiver number 3 in fantasy football, and I think probably in receiving yards in the NFL for the Carolina Panthers. So a bright spot there for an otherwise really bad season. But how about Adam Thielen showing us that he's still got that dog in him this late in his career? You know, it kind of looked like he had lost a step with the Vikings, but the new scenery has been very good for the vet.
I'm looking. Is he a free agent in our league? No, he's not. Dang it.
No.
Of course, Matty Ice has him. He's out here.
So Matt will agree with my dog pick right there because he's gotten him 3 straight 20-point games. Actually, we play full PPR, so maybe even 30-point games. That's hard to see that one coming, but he's got that dog in him.
Oh, definitely. And so that's a good one. I saw the touchdown he scored. Did you see the Panthers punter headbutt the defensive player? I mean, walked up and just like yammed him and was like, "Get out of my face, dude!" I was like, "All right, watch out."
That's called gotten the dog in him too.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is, but if I knew
Johnny
it, that would
Hecka.
be my pick.
He's
Yeah,
the one
that's
that did
who
all
it is.
those crazy fakes back in the day when the Rams were making their run in the Super Bowl year.
Okay, well, he's headbutting fools left and right. So, Tyler, who's your pick for dog of the week?
Yeah, this is pure dog in them, especially after the NCAA organization, try to screw up this man's elite, and that is North Carolina wide receiver Tez Walker. He had an absolute game against Miami. This North Carolina team, if you want like a sneaky pick of a team to possibly make the college football playoff, it would be North Carolina. I think that they're absolutely rolling. Their defense is rolling. But Mr. Tez had 6 catches, 132 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So Tez Walker got that dog in him.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't even going to be able to play this season, and he ends up they end up granting him eligibility, which it was kind of BS that he didn't have it to begin with.
Yeah.
And he goes off first game back. So I like the pick. I like the pick. Mine, I mentioned earlier, the big Penix energy, Michael Penix Jr. or Penix, however you say his name. If you ask Desmond Howard,
but
it's
Desmond
You're
Howard.
like that's Howard.
He said it. I don't think did Pat McAfee say something, or it was one of the other guys. I mean, they were having a field day with this, but I mean, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. People are calling it his Heisman moment, taking down Oregon. So that's my pick for dog of the week. I mean, he more just the, Lanning said, "I'm not going to punt the ball. I'm gonna go for it. And if you turn it over, I don't think Washington's going to score." And Penix said, "Hold my beer. I'm scoring in 3 plays. Easy money, no problem for us." So I wouldn't give one of the best quarterbacks in college football a short field, especially with 2 minutes left in the game. I'd be putting that thing on a 1-yard line, or at least making it a touchback. Make him go 80 yards, not 50. So Michael Penix is mine. We'll see if Matty Ice comes through. If he doesn't, I don't know what to say.
He
We're
can
waiting on
piggyback
it.
off Thielen since he probably got him that win.
Yeah, he messaged me, said he's typing. He must have a long one. So we'll see what he comes up with. But while we wait, we got to get into our NFL talk for the week. There's a game going on right now with the Cowboys and the Chargers. Let's see what that live score is for everybody. 7-7. Which means
What
I'm
happened to
probably
the
gonna lose.
offensive game we were supposed to have?
I need a big
Oh, here
defensive
it
game
is.
from Dallas. Okay, I need a big. Oh, we got the dog of the week. Here we go. Who got that dog in him? You want to know who got that dog in him? I'm going with Alan Lazard.
He did. I watched that
Oh,
live.
yeah.
Gosh, he laid just smack down on a blindside block, and it got called back. But heck of an intercept, or heck of it, he did. He laid this man out
And-
cold.
You see, that was a weird play because they say it's a free play, right, on a
Yeah,
offsides. But I guess if you get a 15-yard penalty for like unnecessary roughness or like a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, why is that not waived? Because it's a free play, right? Like it
know.
should be like
I
if that
agree.
happens, the play didn't happen.
Yeah, you just go back and instead
They lost
they got
yards on the
penalized.
play.
Yeah, because the offsides was 5 yards and this was 15. So then they backed him up 10 yards when it was supposed to be a free play to begin
But they
with.
made like a 30-yard reception.
Yes, it made no sense, and it was
My
It was
wife was
scary.
about to have a coronary because she had Garrett Wilson and he caught the ball. She was in
Yeah.
like a very tight fantasy game against Mallory, and I was like, well, I don't know why they just took away his 20-yard catch, but they're now 10 yards back.
Yeah, and I'm pissed too because I have Garrett Wilson in our other league, and I'm gonna lose by 2 points when he had a freaking 30-yard reception that got taken back because Alan Lazard
Because
had
he's
to
got
lay
the
the
dog in
hammer
him.
down. Yeah, he had to lay the hammer down on this poor guy. I mean, he just got like table folded. I mean, the dude just went down. But I like it. I like it, man. We picked big performers, and he picked somebody who got a penalty.
He picked a goon, like a hockey
yeah.
goon.
Yeah, you got Hecker on the Panthers, and you got Alan Lazard just laying out fools. So, I mean, we can talk about it. The Jets beat the Eagles. The last undefeated team in the NFL now has one loss. Taylor Swift was not there amongst the rumors to go watch Jason Kelsey play. So
Travis
no shocker
was.
there. Travis, you see, he was kind of incognito on the sideline. He was in a green jumpsuit. He had shades on.
Whenever
and a
Fox
bucket
showed him,
hat.
he literally said Jason's brother.
Not Taylor's boyfriend? Are they?
Yeah,
are they
I'm
finding
surprised they
something
didn't
there?
go with that.
Yeah. If you look at it, the Jets have sneaky beat some, or not beat, but played some hard games against really good quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes struggled. Jalen Hurts struggled. They beat Josh Allen week 1. I mean, the man threw 4 picks. Who else am I missing that they played? Their defense is here, right?
Well,
I mean,
week 1 they beat Josh Allen.
yeah, I mean they're making up for the slack that Aaron Rodgers has left behind. And how about Aaron Rodgers out there throwing and walking? The man had an ACL detached, turned into dust 4 weeks ago. And now he's out. He's had surgery. He's out there walking around without crutches. He's throwing the football. Can we see him before the season's up? I mean, I know
just
y'all
put
are
2
medical
flags on him
professionals.
and let him just play flag football back there at QB. I mean, he's probably got the best chance at throwing a deep ball on the team still.
Yeah, I mean, the rumor was that Rodgers said that the sounds of dolphins mating really helped heal his Achilles and further along that healing process.
All right, he's just making stuff up now.
So I don't know, man. I mean, he's out there. Did he ever tear his Achilles? I mean, was that all big? Maybe big pharma. He's calling out the Pfizer and Travis Kelce. Maybe this is also big conspiracy theory, and Rodgers is going to come back in 2 months and play. So it's all about. I mean, next time I get hurt, Dolphins are going on, man. We're just going to listen to it, see what happens. Heal the sickness there. But looking around the league, I mean, I don't think the Jets are making playoffs, but that would be when Rodgers would probably return, or maybe earlier. I mean, they got a defense to do it. Another upset, another unbeaten has fallen. The Browns and their little elf mascot pull off the upset against the 49ers. Did either of y'all watch that game?
A little
I
bit,
watched
yeah.
the end of it.
Yeah, Brock Purdy, his 7 fantasy points he gave me. So appreciate that, Brock.
Hey, he got them down the field ready to win the game. And kickers, we brought it up earlier. The rookie
Jake.
pushed it wide, but that's a tough place to kick. Cleveland, right on the lake in the cold.
Well, I saw a TikTok of a Browns fan. He's in his living room and he's holding a fan up blowing to the right, watching the game, and the kicker missed it, and the dude went bananas. So, for all those
Throw the
people
fan
that say what we do in the living room doesn't matter, it definitely does. When I say I have to switch seats because the offense isn't performing, it's not going to help Saints. It helps LSU. It does matter. I know it's superstitious, and you're not supposed to be superstitious, but I think this one guy in Cleveland had sole reason for the 49ers kicker to miss that field goal. So, Tyler, what's a weird superstition you do? Can you think of something off the top of your head here?
I mean, I know we're all living together, swapped seats. If you're
Yeah.
gonna be winning or losing in a wardrobe, if I wore
You
like
just go
one
change
from the
clothes.
boss, I'm not wearing it again. So yeah, I'm only really superstitious when it comes to sports. Outside of that, not really.
Well, I know Wade's out there jumping over cracks, not knocking on wood. He's like throwing salt behind his shoulder. I mean, he's a crazy guy. But we're not going to let him defend himself. We're going to move on to the Saints.
Oh God.
No offense. Cameron texted me and said, "Hey, you going to Houston to catch the Saints and Texans game?" It's like, why would I drive 3 hours to watch an ass offense? I could go watch the future rookie of the year and CJ Stroud, but I decided not to show up. I mean, our 2 Louisiana boys, let's start with Wade. Is it time to get rid of somebody, whether it be Dennis Allen or Pete Carmichael?
Yes, it was time 3 years ago. I don't know why they're holding on to the last little bits of fabric of the Sean Payton quilt because it's over. I mean, the offense doesn't work. I've been saying it. Look in Denver. Sean Payton can't run his offense there. It's antiquated. It worked with Drew Brees. It was a good run, but Pete Carmichael can't run it in New Orleans. Payton can't run his own offense. Both teams need to clean house of that. And Dennis Allen probably needs to go as well. And it's a good quarterback draft class coming up. I fully do expect the Saints to at least invest in maybe a future quarterback. Not saying Derek Carr can't be the guy the next year or two. I still think he is capable. But yeah, I would suspect Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas to both leave this year, and you just build upon Chris Olave and try to get him back on track, and Rashid Shaheed and the youth behind this team.
Well, so here's where I disagree with you. I would honestly keep Michael Thomas over Chris Olave after the past couple of weeks and just the lack of effort Olave is kind of showing. This is a very who's the receiver? Brandon Cooks-esque performance he's putting out there. He kind of just looks like he doesn't care when he's on the field. He's not. I was telling Matt about this. There was 2 or 3 balls that were thrown in his direction that he could have made a play for, and they went over his head, and he was like, "Whatever, I'll jog back." And he does seem very frustrated, and it seems like Michael Thomas is back fully healthy, and he's playing physical. Same with Alvin Kamara. The 2 of them
they
are really
look great. They're just old.
I mean, Kamara's what, in his 8th year? Or is he younger than that?
27.
So he's probably got a couple more good years left. I mean, he still looks great. You could probably get a lot of draft capital for him or some potential players, but I think you got to make the coaching change first because you got the personnel. I mean, that's what Jameis Winston was telling Kamara on the sideline. He was like, "Look, man, we got the players. Pete Carmichael can't come." Yeah, I mean, you just need to fire Carmichael and just bring in somebody else. I mean, Tyler, what's your solution here for the Saints?
Well, get ready because this is about to be a long one. But if you're trying to tell me that Dennis Allen is a damn good coach, he's 18-41. He could not win in Vegas, and he's never ever going to win with New Orleans, especially with the talent. You're telling me that Derek Carr throws for 353 passing yards and you only get 13 points. Mr. Pete Carmichael, he's more like Mr. Settle for a field goal, but you can't really settle for a field goal because, Blake Murphy missed 2 field goals. So this coaching staff made all of the worst decisions ever. You get rid of Will Lutz. Will Lutz was doing And you get rid of Blake Gillikin, your punter. I know that, you got the tatted boy from Miami. He's doing fine. It's not on him. But you have all this offensive talent. It's really going down the drain. Your defense is really the why you have 3 wins on the season. Let's be honest with you. The offense outside New England game, but New England is so bad the way that they've been looking. But what really irked me was what Dennis Allen said, literally to his players in the locker room, like, "Oh, our players got to do their job better." Buddy, you got to do your job better. You cannot coach worth a damn, because I've had so many instances in that game where he had 2 timeouts and he just lets the clock run. Like, especially whenever they're on that last drive, it would just
they didn't call a single
kept on going. Like, oh, let me just use my timeouts. Like, no, this guy is clueless. This guy is leaderless. Michael, I'm just over the Sean Payton era. Can we just get rid of them so we can just start fresh? I don't think it's really on Derek Carr. I think it's all on Dennis Allen. It goes all the way back to the head coach. I'm so sick of all these head coaches saying all these stupid ass excuses. You can go all the way to the college days with the way that Shane Beamer is doing with South Carolina. It's this crap. Jimbo's doing the same crap. Dennis Allen's doing the same crap. You're just a loser. Sorry franchise that you have with this damn head coach, and it's never going to change unless you get somebody who actually knows how to coach up these guys. Like, all these players are going to waste. It really is. It's really unacceptable, especially the way that division's looking. Tampa Bay looked good, and they beat the shit out of you. Atlanta, the way that they've been looking, they have all the offenses, the defense. Like, it is just so downright, it's not going to change unless you get out of these guys. Houston beat the crap out of you, and that's.
I'm cracking up because you go.
You could have Eric Bieniemy come in. He could be the new coach. I mean, they interviewed him only 2 years in a row. His offense definitely looks better.
Yeah, but I'm just over this team. I'm about to stop watching until they fire somebody, because this is
Dennis Allen, loser.
I mean, to be fair, when he wears the sweats with the tapered jogger pants, he looks like somebody's dad wandering around in the Metairie Walmart. Just clueless, and probably deserves to watch the game.
Who thought that a defensive coordinator would be a good hire? Nobody.
Sean Payton did. Sean Payton absolutely tried to screw us.
Yeah, well, Sean Payton left his team in an absolute dumpster fire. It's like if you want to compare this situation, it's like LSU with Coach O. Your leader
he really didn't, though. It's just the Saints are trying to hold on to 2011, and it's like you got to move on. It's 12 years later.
Hey, Joe Brady, ring, ring. You want your shot at being a head coach?
Who knows who is even want to come to this team? But yeah, Saints are going to be bad for a long time.
Well, I mean, you have a top defense in the NFL, right?
You have the roster.
You have the roster. It's just you don't have the coaches. And what I agree with you, Tyler. What drives me up the wall is when the coaches blame the players.
Shane Beamer's worse. I can get on him.
Yeah, especially in college. That's 100% on the college coach. In the NFL, these professional athletes, you can put some blame on them. But the last drive, when the Saints had a chance to tie the game, the 4 play calls that were called.
All to the end zone.
I mean, what are we playing? Madden? Just run 4 verticals? No, they were 25 yards away. You're telling me you can't run Michael Thomas on a slant, probably call an Alvin Kamara screen, to be honest with you.
The Pete Carmichael's specialty is to dump it off to Alvin Kamara when it's 4th and 5. Like, that's going to give you anything.
Yeah. It's just I was shocked.
I'm over it. This is the last time that we're talking about this team until a change is happening.
Okay, I like it. My alliance has moved from the New Orleans Saints to the Houston Texans.
We're all going to the Bengals.
You can go to the Bengals. I lived in.
Hey, I've been bandwagoning for the last 6 years, maybe. Hopping off the ship, back up to Cincinnati.
My wife asked, she was like, "Why do we root for the Saints instead of the Texans?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "We lived in Houston. We didn't live in New Orleans." And I was like, "That's a very good point." So yeah.
Oh yeah, because Houston was like 1 in 5. You wouldn't be saying that.
Better head coach. I mean, Houston has a defensive. They hired a defensive coordinator, but at least he knows what the hell he's doing on the sidelines.
And they got a rookie quarterback that's got some pop to him. I agree with you, Wade. Derek Carr.
Panthers missed out. They should have just took it out.
They probably went 0 for 3 because Richardson had some potential too.
Or they don't even get a first round pick, and they're going to be 0-6. It goes right to the Bears.
Yeah. So I'm with you, Wade, on. I forgot what I was with you on. You said
Derek Carr.
Yes, Derek Carr is not a bad quarterback. Okay, like Tyler said, 350 yards.
Not a quarterback though that's going to win you in Lombardi.
Oh no, he's a quarterback that you hold on. It's the end of his career. He's riding his time out. The Saints have to draft somebody this year. Probably one of the best quarterback classes in the past.
You have to. Decade. It's a loaded class.
Yeah. Maybe just tank for Caleb Williams. Can we do that?
It's out of the question now.
Teams are already ahead of you in that department.
The Penix or Nix or Drake May.
I hear Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas just scream draft capital.
Give me JD5 in New Orleans.
No, JJ.
He could fall all the way down to the second round.
He reminds me so much of Lamar. But he's a better passer than Lamar, I think. I think Lamar just doesn't have any weapons to help him outside of Mark Andrews.
Yeah, hey, put Lamar on the Saints, we'd be winning.
Well, the Ravens and the Saints run essentially the same offense.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels, I think, would be great on the Saints. Put about 30 pounds of muscle on him so he can take those hits because he might take them in college. Yeah, he might take them in college and get up, but he's going to get murdered in the NFL when you got a linebacker.
Alan Lazard, not even a defender.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our little Saints rant. We won't spend all day. Shout out Lyndon. Your Houston Texans won, even though you probably cheer for the Cowboys. But there you go. Lions, I mentioned earlier, sneaky team to win the NFC. They beat the Bucs. They moved to 5-1. I mean, what do you see from Matt Campbell and the Lions, Tyler?
Yeah, I think that this is definitely a squad that's going to be in contention. The way the NFC North is looking, it's looking like a runaway. The Vikings, who saw them starting the season 2-4. With Justin Jefferson out for the season, it's a majority of their offense out. They have to rely on guys like
out for the season
and Jordan Addison. What?
Justin Jefferson out for the season? I thought
he's out for like 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, I was like, whoa.
Out for my fantasy season.
It's out for the majority. It's more of that the Vikings right now need him for this, I guess, a playoff run. But yeah, I think the Lions are honestly, I'm not really going to look too much in the 49ers and the Eagles losing. It's definitely very challenging to stay undefeated. But yeah, the Lions got a very quality win. I picked against them. I'm not picking against them anymore, especially with the majority of my team being the Lions in one league. So yeah, maybe I should just be a Lions fan right now and root for them since I have majority of my stock on them. But yeah, Amon-Ra had another solid game. Jared Goff, it's really starting to play well. I think that what's really winning them ball games, that defense. I think that defense is definitely one of the best in the NFC. So yeah, honestly, I'm rooting for them to go all the way.
I like it. I mean, it's one of those feel-good stories from Hard Knocks. They bounce back. How are you not like?
And maybe they'll win on Thanksgiving for once.
Who do they play? Green Bay?
Oh, I need to check.
I think they played the Dallas Cowboys.
I would take the Lions all day.
The Packers.
Oh, the Packers.
They do play Green Bay. It's back. That's the tradition. I say Lions win it this year.
Yeah.
Tyler, get your fantasy football corner ready because we're about to throw it to it. But Bills win a defensive battle against the Giants in a late no call in the end zone. Wade, pass interference or not? I don't know if you saw the call.
I think, it probably does need to be called. But honestly, if you're the Giants, you had a shot on it. That was your second play, second shot to the end zone. The first one was called. You kind of knew the officials were going to let it slide. The second go around, I don't love it or hate it either way, but you got to execute better if you're the Giants, and you get down to the 1 yard line twice. I mean, if they would have executed in the first half, they would have had a game-winning field goal, in the bag. So can't really go after the refs, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I mean, it's one of those times that you just gotta. You would like the penalty we called, right? But it just didn't happen. We had a little technical difficulty here with Tyler. Let's get him back in here to get to our fantasy football corner. Tyler, you ready? You ready to rock and roll?
Yep, I am ready to rock and roll. We're headed on to week number 7, and we're gonna get into a quarterback playing absolutely right now against the Dallas Cowboys. That game right now is 10-7. Dallas is leading. So now we will turn our attention. The week starts off early on Thursday night against the Jags and the Saints. So definitely be sure to lock in those lineups. That way you get the maximum number of points. Okay, let's get into week number 7. Quarterback star going to be Justin Herbert. Love the Chargers. You know, they're going up against the Chiefs secondary, which I have definitely improving. But I think that matchup is between two of the best quarterbacks in the league with Justin Herbert and also Patrick Mahomes. So I think that this is going to be another barn burner, probably like a 31-24 type of game. I think that both offenses are going to shine. So give me Justin Herbert, especially with the weapons that he has. You know, Keenan Allen, he's been the leading target. Austin Eckler, he missed out on a couple of weeks. He's back to healthy. So I think that if the Chiefs, want to hang on with this one, Justin Herbert, if the Chargers want to pull off the upset, Justin Herbert's going to have a very solid game. So I think that in a shootout, Justin Herbert should have his fair share of fantasy points in week number 7. Okay, let's go on now to the running back start of the week. And let's go to Josh Jacobs. You are going to absolutely salivate at what this matchup is. He's going up against one of the worst defenses in the league. And that is, I believe that is the Denver Broncos, if I'm correct. Yes, it is. Going up against the Denver Broncos. Actually, no, going up against the Bears. Sorry, I got it mixed up. Going up against the Bears, but that's also one of the worst rush defenses in the league. Coming off of a game where he didn't score a touchdown, but he had 25 attempts and 77 yards. So I think if you're really waiting on Josh Jacobs to score you a couple of touchdowns, it's got to be on the road when they go on to Chicago. Jimmy Garoppolo, if he's healthy and ready to go, I think that this Raiders team is going to run away with this one. Chicago just hasn't really shown much on the defensive side of the ball, doesn't really have any answers. So I think Josh Jacobs is going to do his fair share, both in the rushing department and also the game. So this is the game, you draft on, and this is the matchup that you've been waiting for, is a defense that he can really go off for you. So Josh Jacobs is a lock for the start of the week in the running back position.
Like
Going on to the wide receiver start. I'm not biased. We're just going to go with the hot streak of Amon-Ra St. Brown. It is a tough matchup going up against Baltimore's defense, especially in Baltimore. But like I mentioned, I'm not picking against the Lions anymore, especially the way that this offense has been rolling. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the leader. The way that Jared Goff has been playing, you really have to trust this offense. David Montgomery, he's out. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's also a little bit banged up. So this has been more of a pass-heavy attack. Look for that to continue against a Ravens secondary that was strong against the Titans, but the Titans didn't really have really a vaunted pass offense that the Lions had. So I think that the Ravens defense will be tested. So look for Amon-Ra to have another great game against a tough defense. Okay, on now to the quarterback sit of the week, and it's going to be Derek Carr. Don't really like this matchup for Carr in the Saints against the Jaguars defense. That has looked phenomenal. So it's probably going to be more of a low-scored matchup, especially on Thursday night. Both teams coming off of a short week. So, the way that the Saints offense has been pretty vanilla offense, can't really trust. Derek Carr, he's coming off of a good game, 353 yards and a touchdown, but it's very hit and miss with the Saints offense. So I would wait for a better matchup for Derek Carr in the Saints offense, especially against a very talented secondary in the Jaguars. Let's go on now to the running back sit of the week, and Jacob's going to hate me. I feel like it's been 3 straight weeks where I've been sitting one of his starting running backs, but Alexander Mattison and the Minnesota Vikings, a tough matchup on Monday night against the San Francisco rush defense. San Fran's got one of the best rushing attacks in the league, so I would definitely stay away from that. Madison also hasn't been too good either, especially the way that he's been looking. Only 18 attempts, 44 yards. That's not exactly what we're looking for, especially when you drafted him to be your RB1 or RB2. So even, with Justin Jefferson being banged up, don't really trust this. It's probably going to be a tough matchup for Minnesota to win, especially with San Francisco coming off of the loss. They are going to be motivated to get back on track. So sit Alexander Mattison this week against a very tough defensive matchup against San Fran. Last one is going to be the wide receiver sit of the week. And I I just can't get a grasp of what is going on with Jahan Dotson. He was one of my breakout candidates going into the season. That been the case. And that is right, coming off of a game where he didn't have anything. 0 fantasy points, no yardage. It is the Terry McLaurin show for the Washington Commanders. So if you're a McLaurin fantasy owner, definitely start him this week against the Giants. I know that the Giants secondary looked very good last night against the Buffalo Bills, but I think that this Washington Commanders passing attack is really hitting on all cylinders. Eric Bennett, the offense coordinator, he's calling it the plays. So John Dotson, he's just not doing too good. So really the only wide receiver I can trust on this offense is Terry McLaurin. Curtis Samuel, he had that one good game, but he's really been inconsistent. So I would leave Jahan Dotson. Honestly, I probably would just cut Jahan Dotson at this rate because he hasn't really shown much. So that is your wide receiver sit of the week, and that is your starts and sits heading into week number 7.
Well, Tyler, I like it. I like it because you mentioned starting Josh Jacobs, which I will for sure be doing. I will be starting Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry season over on Chet's fantasy team. And I think the Derek Carr one, that Alexa's got to find a new quarterback, considering Trevor Lawrence is potentially not going to play Thursday. So we'll stay away from Derek Carr. For your best fantasy matchups, though, hit up Tyler. He'll give you all the insights and tips. That kind of hits our football talk. I want to talk about the baseball playoffs. Astros take an early 2-0 deficit to the Texas Rangers. Not looking great for the Stros. I still believe they're going to come back. I got faith in my Astros. Maybe they'll take it in 5 or 7 games. We'll see. What do y'all think? You think the Rangers are going to run away with this one and go undefeated in the postseason?
I'll give it to our baseball expert.
I don't see him going undefeated, but I do see him taking this series 4-1. I think Houston's too good to get swept. But yeah, Dallas, or the Rangers rather, they just are on fire. We knew the bats could come to play, but they did a great job at the trade deadline. They got Jordan Montgomery, who's really been an ace for them, as well as easing Max Scherzer back into it. We'll see him in the next game. And Nathan Eovaldi, he came back from injury too. So this team is built to win now, and they spent a lot of money in the offseason, and it's finally come into fruition for the Rangers. And then on the other side, I just think the Phillies are just going to absolutely manhandle the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks were a good story, but I just think
right now
they're going to run out of gas here. And I think we're going to be in for a lot of offense in the World Series between the Phillies and the Rangers potentially.
I would love to see the Phillies back into the World Series and lose back-to-back years. That would be that would
Texas
make
teams.
my heart happy. Yes, that would be great. It better if it was.
I'm good with that too, because I didn't have a baseball team I didn't like in a long time, and now it's the Phillies. It used to be the Yankees, but now it's the Phillies.
Well, that's the Philadelphia persona. They want the people to hate them. I mean, they play into it very well between their players and their fans. So I give it to you, Philly. You're doing a good thing. We've got an Ask Neil update came through the interwebs earlier today. Let me get reading on this one here before we close out the show. Kyle Larson gets the win out at Vegas, not just on the slots, but on the course, or the track, I should say. Locks himself into the championship 4. It's a huge advantage for him because now the next few races don't really matter, and they are able to get his car ready for Phoenix. He was able to dominate stage 1, leading most of the stage, and got the stage win with Bell and Truex running the top 3. A late caution caused by Eric Jones brings multiple drivers making different tire calls, and some putting on scuffs, and others take 2 or 4 different tires. Truex opts to stay out of the stage break on old tires and quickly fades back to the mid-teens. Caution comes out on lap 110 with Hocevar, I think that's how you say it, not really sure there, blowing a right rear tire, allowing Truex to get fresh tires and potentially move back up to the front. Larson continued to dominate stage 2 and got stage 2 win. The Bell and Hamlin also had good finishes in that stage. But solid battle in stage 3 for the lead between Bell and Chastain And every time Chastain was able to close the gap, Bell managed to pull away, allowing Brad Larson to close the gap on 2. And lap 35, Chastain gets loose and shoots up the track and falls back to 4th. And a massive battle for the lead between Larson and Bell over the last 10 laps, with Bell getting to his right rear as they take the checkered flag. Ryan Blaney was initially DQ'd from this race due to an illegal spring, but was later rescinded Monday afternoon after NASCAR determined it was a racing wear that caused it to not meet tolerance. So NASCAR Neil getting the behind the scenes and the drama going on with the springs and the tires and the motors, and he's ready for Phoenix in a couple weeks for that championship race. So appreciate it, Neil, as always. Gentlemen, I think that pretty much wraps up the show. Anything else from the sports world?
Nope.
Yeah, NASCAR Neil, you got to be ready for football too. He's making his return to the LSU equipment room. They're having their little homecoming reunion. He's going to come to town, and we're going to take on the game. So we'll have another good recap. I'm looking forward to the Army game. I think there'll be a really cool flyover, is what I would assume, and who knows, maybe even some alternate uniforms. NASCAR Neil, you
Yeah,
got the
maybe
suit?
so.
White, purple, white.
Yeah, we pulled out the stops against Mississippi State a couple of years ago. Why not pull it out for our Army? Get those like purplish, bluish helmet things.
Yeah, the iridescent helmets.
Yeah, the what was it? The fallen soldier uniforms, I think is what they called them. That would be
Yeah, the
pretty
old
sick.
war school.
Exactly. So with that ends the show. Make sure to leave us a review, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. You can find us everywhere. Find us on Twitter at Sports Scramble 4. Make sure you tune in to College Football Coast to Coast every Saturday up on our YouTube, and of course SEC Talks on Sunday nights. We hope you all have a wonderful and blessed week. We root for your sports team unless you're the Philadelphia Phillies. And go Tigers. Catch y'all next time.